Hello and welcome back. In upcoming sections, we will learn alternative methods for finding these antiderivatives or indefinite integrals. But in the meantime, the idea is just to use the power rule and what we know about the sum and difference rule and constant rule to find our antiderivatives. So in this first example, the very first thing we need to do is multiply this out so that we can get this into a polynomial form that we can go ahead and integrate. So in doing so, we're going to just multiply it out and get 4 times x squared plus 6x plus another 6x makes 12 times x, and then plus 3 times 3 makes 9. And now we're going to integrate term by term. So the integral of x squared, we add 1 to the power and divide by the new power. So we're going to have x to the third power divided by 3. So that's going to be a 4/3 x to the third power. In the next example, we're going to take the first power on x, add 1 to the power to get x squared, and divide by the new power of 2. So that's 12 divided by 2, which is just going to be 6 times x squared. And then we have x to the 0 power, adding 1 is going to bring on an x, and divide by the first power, it keeps it the same. Or just think that the derivative of something that has 9 for an answer must be 9 times x plus a constant. So that's 9 times x plus our arbitrary constant c. So again, the antiderivative is just going to be using multiplication and an application of the power rule. For the next problem, again, there's different ways to look at these, but the idea here is to use the power rule. So the first thing we're going to do is split it apart. It has 4 times x cubed divided by x squared plus 7 times x divided by x squared, and finally minus 3 over x squared. We're integrating with respect to x. We now simplify down. So this is going to be the integral of just 4 times x plus 7 divided by x minus 3 over x squared. And now we're going to go through and use our power rule. And in doing so, the first term is going to become 4 times x squared divided by 2. So that's going to be just 2 times x squared. In the middle, that is the exception to the power rule because it's x to the negative 1 power. So we're going to have our 7 multiplied times that antiderivative of 1 over x, which is the natural log of the absolute value of x. And then back here, we have minus 3. Adding 1 to that power makes negative 1. And then dividing by negative 1 plus c. And then at the end of the problem, just rewrite it nicely. So we've got 2x squared plus 7, natural log, absolute value x. And that's going to be plus 3 divided by x plus c. And that right there is the antiderivative or the indefinite integral of our original problem. And again, all of these answers are checkable by doing a little bit of routine derivative taking and then a little bit of algebra as well, because again, we're starting off with more complex expressions. So in this process, you'd have to go through and get a common denominator after taking the derivative. And then the other one, you'd have to factor the original derivative to get back to the integrand.